Episode 1, the imposter syndrome, or fake it till you make it. So, have you ever felt like an imposter? The imposter syndrome is this nagging feeling of inadequacy, and it makes you feel like even at an interview, you might be an imposter. Why and what contributes to the imposter syndrome? As I've had a chance to get to know a lot of people, often they are doing someone else's dream. I've heard these stories from people where they said, going into college, the expectation was I was going to do this, and I'm living out into my father's dream for what I should be. If this is you and you're living someone else's dream, it is an extremely dangerous thing. You might be able to fake it for 4 years while you pursue an education, but eventually you and your needs are going to bubble up. If you're struggling with what you really want to do, you need to slow down. You need to focus on Module 2, the story of you, go back to looking at a warehouse of your talents, deciphering what your best talents are, and then going through the process of determining where you're profitable, where you're proficient, and where you are passionate. Those things can make a huge difference in you not feeling like an imposter as you're going through your life. People often do what's safe, but not what they want to do. In a survey of 248,000 people, 2/3 of people regret their choice of majors in college. So if there's one message I want to get across, it's okay if you're on the threshold of college to take your time, to go slow and choose what fits you, not to succumb to the family pressures that you might feel. So not knowing what you want, feeling false pressure to make decisions, all of those things contribute to the imposter syndrome. Also, if you are in process of being in job transition, if you are actively retrofitting yourself to every single job description, if you don't know what you're really looking for, if you're doing what other people say is safe and you're setting aside how you feel, these things can all contribute to the imposter syndrome. If you're not dealing with the spiritual side effects of long-term unemployment, a lot of things can get bottled up emotionally inside, which make you feel insecure. This is one reason I say it's so important to join a small group. These are the kinds of pressures that can really derail your efforts. Pressures you might feel while you're going through this process might include, I just need to get a job. You might have pressures on you at home and feel financial pressure, and you might just need to get a paycheck so that you can slow down, take a deep breath, and really focus on what you're looking for. Many people who are feeling a lot of pressure start responding to everything. They start seeing themselves in every job description and not being selective about what they are targeting. If you look at your YBR, you need to ask yourself for each listing in your pipeline, how do I see myself fitting in with the team as I meet this potential team or corporate opportunity or contract gig or even customer? How do I see myself fitting in with them? You need to also ask yourself, do I see myself really actively engaging with the business challenges of the organization? Does it make me feel energized to think about the role that I'm being interviewed for? How about politics? Do the politics of the organization suit you, or do you feel uncomfortable with the politics? When you interview with a company, what is the office vibe? Do you sense that you fit in? Do you feel a sense of likableness in meeting people? Do you feel like you can trust them? How about, can they trust you? Is there a sense of integrity beyond the mission statement? And as you go through, are you asking yourself, is this what I really want? Or is it about a paycheck? What does your intuition or your gut say about the opportunity? It's so important how you might feel, because when you ignore your feelings, bad things happen. Let me give you an example. I received a phone call a couple weeks ago from a gentleman who is about 38 years old. He has 2 children, ages 6 and 8, and he is a very successful marketer. He's been working on digital campaign management for quite some time. And he called me out of despair because he felt that he really needs a healthy change, but he doesn't know how to pursue it. I said, when did this start with you? And he said to me, I knew as early as college that I wanted to be a meteorologist. I love weather, but to do the safe thing, I decided to be a business major and go with marketing. Now he's 38 years old, looking at a major potential career change, and is really regretting his career to this point. I don't want this to be you. So if you're hearing this, take a look on the bright side. It's time to honor your feelings and do what's right and not retrofit yourself into every opportunity. Because when you start being authentic to yourself, you do not feel like an imposter. You can get your energy up. You do identify with the role that's being offered to you. And you feel a sense of ease because it is a good fit. These are all things that you need to be sensitive to as you're going through the process. So let's talk about imposter syndrome if you're an entrepreneur. I remember early on in my career how imposter syndrome would surface in me. Often I would feel unqualified just talking about what my dreams were in relation to starting the advertising agency that I started when I was 25. I would feel very insecure about my qualifications because at the time I had only worked for other people and I had never worked for myself. And to overcome imposter syndrome, one thing I did was I surrounded myself with talented mentors who I could humbly ask a lot of questions to, who built up my sense of confidence and self-esteem. That was something as an entrepreneur I could actively do that made a huge difference in my understanding of what was important, what people I look up to value, and they transitioned their knowledge to me over time. But it was because I was humble enough to receive it. How about you? If you're thinking about starting a company, who advises you? Who's encouraging you? Who could you actively seek out to start building your confidence and your comfort levels in offering a technical service or product? Additionally, you need to really get rid of distracting influences. For example, if friends or family highly doubt you, you need to surround yourself with positive experiences to offset other people's doubts. So what's the antidote? In my opinion, it's clarity of vision, knowing your why. Why do you feel called to do this? Why does it excite you? How can you start small, gain confidence, and then expand your idea once you've proven you can find one customer to sell something at a profit? Because I believe if you can find one customer, you can find more customers. And that's all really being an entrepreneur is driving demand for what it is you can uniquely supply. Starting small is a way to control risk. And as an entrepreneur, every single entrepreneur can come up with some way to start small. So one of the key influencers in my life and my experience as an entrepreneur is Ted and Joyce of TJ Cinnamon's Bakery. So Ted Rice was my mentor at the Kauffman Foundation, and he shared with me his story. When he started, he and his wife had a passion for cinnamon rolls. So they built this little trailer that they would use to sell coffee and their cinnamon rolls at state fairs, at farmer markets, at art fairs, anywhere they could pull this trailer, they felt like they could do business. And they built such a cult following for these cinnamon rolls that it was their idea to go into shopping malls and make these cinnamon rolls, bake them, and serve them to a built-in audience that would be smelling these cinnamon rolls at the shopping malls. And their brand just took off. Ultimately, they were bought by Dannon, and now they're sold through Schlotzsky's nationwide. And it started small. It just started with doing something they felt passionate about with cinnamon rolls. How can your dreams start small? How can you surround yourself with people who offset your feeling of an imposter? You need to ask yourself as you think about things, what is it unique that you want to do? How do you want to bless the world? Great companies start small and often think very different. So, for example, Trader Joe's, when they started Trader Joe's, the founder had this vision for bringing organic food to his community, but he had no idea what the profit model was. So he started his company really not knowing how he was going to make a profit. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? But he pursued it because he felt like the world would support his vision and his brand. What's your vision? What's your brand? When you think about Southwest Airlines, for example, when they started, I remember sitting on one of their early flights and they were using humor to warm up their passengers to the idea that we were going to be eating peanuts and being happy with it. And they told us we were going to get the best fares and that they loved to fly and that it was going to be a great experience, even though we all couldn't believe they were breaking way away from other competitors in their industry and doing things very differently. Now, Southwest Airlines is one of the leading global providers of airline services. They've taught their customers what to value. We value that our bags fly free. They teach us where to go stand in line so they can board more efficiently. They've trained their customer to appreciate everything that is unique about their brand. What is going to be unique about your brand? What is going to be unique about the way you want to offer a product or a service? If you're an entrepreneur, I believe you are an economy of one. You're uniquely called, and I encourage you to just give yourself permission to try a number of things, mini focus groups. Talk to your first customer. Ask them what they appreciated in buying from you. And then do research and find more customers. These are the simple things you need to do to get started. And these are the things that combat the imposter syndrome if you're an entrepreneur. In conclusion, I really feel if you are struggling with the imposter syndrome, you need to go back to the perfect job description, which you wrote in Module 2, and look for opportunities that use your best talents. So if you use a really critical eye going through your YBR, maybe only a few of the opportunities you're truly excited about, but really focus in on those opportunities to convey that excitement. I also want you to listen to your gut. Your intuition tells you everything you need to know, often about a true opportunity. And if you have a gut check where there's something about the experience that's not matching your feeling for what's important, honor what your gut is telling you. Very seldom is that gut wrong and that gut reaction wrong. Finally, I want to encourage you not to settle. Jesus said, "Be it unto you as you believe." So, what do you believe? I believe you are called to greatness. I believe you're called to something more. I believe you're here to serve God with your gifts and that the world needs the best version of you. I encourage you to surround yourself in a small group or in a community of people who will help you, who will challenge you, who will motivate you to reach for what it is you want because you are worth it. This is not a dress rehearsal. You are going through life one time. Too many people get to the end of their life and they regret not having taken the chance to believe for something bigger. I encourage you, be it unto you as you believe. Ask the question daily, what do I believe? And then go for it.